I'd like to say hello from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia to our dearest speakers and also participants. Good afternoon, Mr. Okay. Yeah. Good afternoon, Mr. Tomoko Sinchi. Good afternoon from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Oh, Ms. Tomoko Sinchi. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Okay, thank you very much for coming online to this conference.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Bahodir Tribe. Glad to see you online. We are here in Kuala Lumpur along with our lecturers and also our speakers, Professor Purwo Susongko. Also, Mr. Takashi Kawahara. Good afternoon, Mr. Takashi from Kuala Lumpur. Right now, it's 1 p.m. here in Kuala Lumpur. Well, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to begin our ICEDES 2023 in a few minutes.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Distinguished speakers, Vice Rector of Academic Affairs, Universitas Pancasakti Tegal, Professor Dr. Purwo Susongko, MPD, Vice Rector for International Cooperation, Transport University, Uzbekistan, Professor Dr. Bahodir Surai, Professor Umida Sia Mohamedova from Tashkent State Transport University, Uzbekistan, Dr. Yosi Andirani from University Malaysia Terengganu, and Dr. Takashi Kawahara from Atsushi Neurosurgical Hospital, Japan. Ladies and gentlemen, and all the participants of ICEDES 2023, good afternoon and welcome to International Conference on Engineering, Design, and Environmental Sustainability. It is such an honor to welcome you here at this event. I am Yuni Apiani and I'm your host for today's conference. Ladies and gentlemen, this event will be divided into several segments. First is the opening. Second is singing national anthem. Third is singing March Pancasakti. Fourth, welcoming remarks from Vice Rector of Student Affairs, Universitas Pancasakti Tegal. And then short remarks from Vice Rector for International Cooperation, Tashkent State Transport University, Uzbekistan. Sixth is panel session, followed by parallel session, and the last is closing. Ladies and gentlemen, let us commence this event by saying Basmalah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ladies and gentlemen, please raise for National Anthem of Indonesia Raya, National Anthem of Uzbekistan, National Anthem of Japan, and National Anthem from Malaysia. Hadirin dimohon berdiri. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Yeah, I'm sorry. Hadirin dimohon berdiri.
Indonesia kebangsaan, bangsa yang
Now, I would like to invite Vice Rector of Student Affairs, Universitas Pancasakti Tegal, Mr. Imam Asmaruddin SH, MH, please do.
Of ICEDES, topic on International Conference on Engineering, Design, and Environmental Sustainability. Universitas is very pleased to host in this conference. As an education institution, it is our mission to synergize environment science and develop more science applications. So we are ready to face society 5.0. Also, in the term of innovation in engineering, fisheries, and marine, collaborate with information technology and will create a plan of new innovation. It is part of our concern on contribution of science and technology for enhancing national productivity and competition in Indonesia. Hopefully, we all can significantly give more contribution to the national advancement in the not too distant future. To all of our speakers and thanks for being here. Welcome and enjoy the conference. Also, I appreciate to all committee in this conference. Thanks. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, the next agenda, I now would like to call upon Vice Rector for International Cooperation at University, Uzbekistan, Professor Dr. Bahadur Surai.
Уважаемые участники и гости международной конференции по инженерному проектированию и охране окружающей среды.
Dear participants and guests of International Conference on Engineering Design and Environmental Protection.
Позвольте мне сердечно поприветствовать вас на этом значимом мероприятии. Я, Тураев Бахадыр Хатамович, с честью и гордостью представляю наш университет на этой очень важной платформе обмена знаний и опыта.
Let me warmly welcome you all to this significant event. I, Bahadur Turaev, am honored and proud to represent our university on this important platform for the exchange of knowledge and experience.
Я верю, что эта конференция, которая сегодня нас объединила, сыграет ключевую роль в содействии исследованиям, инновациям и технологиям в области инженерного проектирования и охраны окружающей среды. На протяжении многих лет Ташкентский государственный транспортный университет активно работает над развитием современных методов и подходов к решению сложных задач, связанных с устойчивым развитием транспортных систем и экологической безопасностью.
I believe that the conference will bring us together today, will play a key role in promoting research, innovation, and technology in engineering design and environmental protection. For many years, Tashkent State Transport University has been actively working on the development of modern methods and approaches to solving complex problems related to the sustainable development of transport systems and environmental safety.
До сегодняшнего дня Двигателем инженерного проектирования и стимулом для усовершенствования методов проектирования была экономика. Инженеры видят себя связующим звеном между наукой, технологиями и бизнесом, позволяющим промышленности создавать богатство за счет научных и технологических разработок. Вопросы экологии были в лучшем случае на втором месте и навязывались инженеру по мере того, как общество становилось все более и более требовательным.
Until today, economics has been the driving force behind engineering design and the impetus for improving design methods. Engineers see themselves as a link between science, technology, and business, enabling industry to create wealth through scientific and technological development. Question of logic were forced on the engineers as society became more and more demanding.
На данный момент, по моему мнению, каждому инженерному проекту должны быть применены строгие требования относительно безопасности для окружающей среды. Как, например, выполняя проект, инженер должен создать продукт, который выполняет определенные функции, но в то же время необходимо обеспечить разумное расходование материалов и иных ресурсов. Такие изменения подразумевают необходимость новой инженерной философии и этики и, следовательно, изменений в инженерном образовании.
At the moment, in my opinion, strict environmental safety requirements should be applied to every engineering project. For example, when performing a project, an engineer must create a product that performs certain functions, but at the same time, it is necessary to ensure a reasonable use of materials and other resources. Such changes imply the need for a new engineering philosophy and ethics, and consequently changes in the engineering education.
В настоящее время вопрос смягчения или устранения последствий влияния жизнедеятельности человека на окружающую среду актуален как никогда. И наш университет, являясь единственным вузом Средней Азии, который специализируется на подготовке квалифицированных кадров в области транспорта, чувствует необходимость в поиске экологических чистых решений для транспортной отрасли и прикладывает все усилия для того, чтобы они были найдены.
Currently, the issue of mitigating or eliminating the impact of human activity on the environment is more relevant than ever. And our university, being the only university in Central Asia that specializes in training qualified personnel in the field of transport, feels the need to find environmentally friendly solutions for the transport industry and make every effort to ensure that they are found.
В числе прочего, профессорско-преподавательский состав Ташкентского государственного транспортного университета занимается исследованиями в области снижения загрязнения окружающей среды, выхлопными газами автомобилей, определения нормативов потребления топлива с учетом эксплуатации транспортных средств на предприятиях. Я уверен, что эта конференция станет плодотворной площадкой для взаимодействия, обмена знаниями и установления новых связей между участниками. А также рад, что подобное мероприятие не обходит стороной наш университет. Ваше участие и вклад в это мероприятие очень ценны, и я надеюсь, что ваши исследования и доклады принесут свои плоды в виде новых идей и подходов к решению глобальных проблем окружающей среды и устойчивого развития.
Among other things, the teaching staff and the professors of the Tashkent State Transport University is engaged in research in the field of education, reducing environmental pollution by car exhaust gases, determine fuel consumption standards, taking into account the operating conditions of vehicle enterprises. I'm sure that this conference will become a fruitful platform for interaction, exchange of knowledge, and establishment of new connections between the participants. And I'm also glad that such an event does not bypass the Tashkent State Transport University. Your participation and contribution to this event is very valuable, and I hope that your research and reports will be fruit in the form of new ideas and approaches to solving global problems of the environmental and sustainable development.
На сегодняшний день Ташкентский государственный транспортный университет активно сотрудничает в области науки и образования с 25 странами мира, в которых обучается около 19 тысяч студентов, что свидетельствует о признании нашего университета на международном уровне.
Today, Tashkent State Transport University actively cooperates in the field of science and education with 25 countries of the world, where about 19,000 students study, which indicates the recognition of our university at the international level.
Желаю всем нам продуктивных обсуждений, интересных дебатов и вдохновляющих встреч. Пусть наши усилия приведут к прогрессу в науке и технологии и способствуют сохранению нашей планеты для будущих поколений. Благодарю вас за внимание и удачи в работе на этой конференции.
I wish all of us productive discussion, interesting debates, and inspiring meetings. May our efforts lead to progress in science and technology and help preserve our planet for future generations. Thank you for your attention and good luck with your work at this conference.
Thank you, Mr. Bahodir. Ladies and gentlemen, the next agenda is parallel session. I would like to give it to Ibu Internatonal or Ibu to be a moderator of the next couple hours.
Thank you very much, Ibu Yuni. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So this is the panel sessions of our today ICEDES 2023. We have three speakers here. The first is the Honorable Professor Dr. Purwo Susongko, MPD from Universitas Pancasakti Tegal. And the second one is Professor Umida Zia Mukmadevo from Tashkent State Transport University, Uzbekistan. And the third one is Dr. Takashi Kawahara from Atsuchi Neurosurgical Hospital. And the fourth, we have four speakers today. The fourth one is Dr. Yosi Andriani from University Terengganu, Malaysia. So now, first, I'd like to call upon our first speakers, Professor Dr. Purwo Susongko, MPD. But let me read the CV of Professor Dr. Purwo Susongko. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, Professor Dr. Purwo Susongko. He is professor in educational research and evaluation, and he began his career as a civil servant teacher at Senior High School 1 Bojo, Regency, Central Java in 1998. And then in 2002, he moved to become a lecturer of Kopertis region at Pancasakti University, Tegal. And now he is the vice rector of Academic Affairs of Universitas Pancasakti Tegal. He was also the secretary of the Mathematics Education Study Program, head of Internal Quality Assurance of the University Quality Assurance Groups, and also he was head of LPPM and dean of FETT. And yes, now he serves as vice rector for academic affairs, Universitas Pancasakti Tegal. So now I'd like to call upon Professor Dr. Purwo Susongko to give his material. Dr. Purwo Susongko, please do.
Thank you very much. Okay, good evening. On the speaker and participant. I will give presentate my paper about I would like to make a framework that how we can do assessment about the critical thinking for society, because it is very important if we want to have a good society. I think we have to educate them to be more, have the high critical thinking for the society. Okay, next. So why so critical thinking? That a critical thinking can trans independent thinking and common sense. This is not only needed by scientists, but also by all citizens in order to contribute efficiently to modern society. There's many research to solve that. And citizen critical thinking skill greatly influence the participant in democracy, health promotion, creativity, and innovation in a society. And the next, okay, this my framework that the relation of the critical thinking and human development. We know that the critical thinking have the good strength correlation with the creativity and innovation and the value of human development. Especially that critical thinking make someone or citizen will more have higher literacy. Next, and how to improve people's critical thinking here. So at least we have the three steps that if we have to improve the people's critical thinking skill. The first is what is the construction and standard of critical thinking skill that must be matured by the community on our society. And what is the critical thinking learning model for society? And what is the evaluation model for learning to think critically for society? Okay, the next. On the research purpose is to develop a framework for assessing critical thinking skill that must be matured by the community. The framework can then be used as standard for mastering community thinking skill that supports the quality of the human resources. And the steps of the literature with the integrative. Yeah. This is my method that literature review with an integrative approach. The one in design is is this review necessary, and what is the contribution of conducting this review? Is there anyone who needs this review? What specific objective and research question will be addressed in this review? What is the proper method used for the specific purpose of this review? And what is the search strategy for this particular review? And the step 2 is procedure. Does the search plan default in the phase or serve to generate a citable sample, or does it need adjustment? What is the practical plan for selecting article, and how will the search and selection process be documented? How will the quality of the search and selection process be assessed? Next, in the 3, analysis, what type is on information need to be accepted to fulfill the review objective? What types of information are needed to perform a specific analysis? How will reviewers be trained to ensure the quality of this process? And how will the process be documented and reported? The binary is procedure was the motivation and the need for the review clearly communicated. What reporting standards are appropriate for this review? What information needs to be included in this review? Is the level of information provided sufficient and appropriate to allow transparency so readers can judge the quality of the review? and the result presented clearly and the review contribution clearly communicated. Next. And this is a research result. The first, that critical thinking skills have been widely cited by researchers, but most of it is related to the development of student critical abilities in classroom learning. These instruments are always made for specific purposes according to the material being studied by the student and carried out the form of classroom assessment. And then some researchers also develop authentic critical thinking skill for students. Students need the ability to critical in making better decisions, analyzing information in media carefully, doing a better job, not being fooled by promising product promotion, and avoiding a number of other negative things in everyday life. And then several researchers have developed critical thinking assessment that are large scale but still depend on certain materials and educational level. Until now, there are still very few researchers who examine how to conduct an assessment of the ability to think critically in society. For this reason, it is necessary to study the theoretical ability to think critically for the community and a construct an indicator to measure the ability to think critically for the society. Next. Okay. Okay. Here are many research about the critical thinking concept. And the first critical thinking, according to ICEDES and treatment on 2009. And critical thinking refers to thinking logically and reflectively, focused on the decision to be made. Current decision making refers to critical thinking skill, but the statement future decision making refers to the character of critical thinking. And based on the work doing, it can conclude that critical thinking skills are logical and reflective thinking skills focused on making decisions that can be trusted. In a simple term, critical thinking skills involve identifying and analyzing source of information for credibility, demonstrating prior knowledge, and making connection and deduction for a conclusion. The next. The characteristic of critical thinking, according to Miral, the characteristic of critical thinking can be seen from several indicators, namely always use reasoning and vigilance, seeing the situation from various and perspective and size, open to change and innovation, to see the mind without prejudice, open mind, analytical thinking, and pay attention to the time. So the Miral is explain about the characteristic of the critical thinking. Next. Okay, this is a definition of critical thinking according to Asman. Explain that there are two dimensions in the definition of critical thinking. They are significant. First, critical thinking focuses on questioning beliefs, statements, assumptions, lines of reasoning, action, and experience. Suppose you read facts in a book or heard them from a friend or instructor. And a critical thinking focuses on not taking this fact or granted. Instead, it requires evidence to evaluate its validity. Someone who has critical ability will ask questions, assess the fact and issues involved, and finally confirm their opinion. The second fact of the definition and critical thinking is the creative formulation of opinion or conclusion when presented with a question, problem, or issue. For example, you are asked for your opinion about the problem, solution, or examples are follows. The example is in conflicts who have committed violent crime are not eligible for parole, so they serve the full sentence. What is the best way to eradicate poverty in this nation? Is in the example for the question to rise about the critical thinking. Next, and this is a Stanford encyclopedia about the critical thinking. Critical thinking is three to mind, namely the realm of character, the realism of process, and the realism of cognitive skill. Okay. The realism of process, the ability to think critically is demonstrated through a process and carried out by a patient, including observing, feeling, asking questions, imagining, concluding, knowing, experimenting, consulting, blocking, and analyzing argument, assessing, and deciding. In the realm of the character, the ability to think critically is characterized by the ability to attention, the habit of asking questions, self-confidence, courage, the controlling thoughts, willingness to suspend decision, believe in the rational explanation, seek the truth. This seek the truth. So I think very important. So the example, one person can distinguish between sign and non-sign because he knows how we can seek the truth. In the realm of cognitive ability, the critical thinking can be seen from a person's ability to observation, emotional expression, conclude, experiment, consult, imagine, argument, analysis, judging, and deciding. The next, Powell and Elders, the defining critical thinking as an art of analyzing and evaluating thought process with the aim of improving them. Critical thinking is self-directed, self-disciplined, self-monitored, and self-corrective thinking. It requires high standard of excellence and care for one to use. And the development of critical thinking skill according to Powell and Elders consists of 6 levels starting from unreflective, challenge, beginning, practicing, advanced thinker, and accomplished statements. Next, passionate, dividing the definition of the critical thinking skill into aspects, namely its cognitive ability and character. In the cognitive aspect, the ability to think critically includes the ability to interpretation, analysis, inference, evaluation, explanation, and self-regulation. And he makes about the trailer of the characteristic on the one or someone that have the critical thinking. Implicitness with regard to wide range of issue, concern to become and remain well informed, alertness to opportunities to use critical thinking, trust in the process of reason inquiry, self-confidence in one's own ability to reason, open minds, flexibility, permanence, honesty, stereotypes, and willingness. Next. Six and Pound in 2015 include the ability of the civic critical thinking is distinguish something that is possible and impossible. Distinguish good, bad, and distort argument, differentiate knowledge, belief, and even see the truth in personal experience, distinguish between science and non-science. This is a very good someone that can to distinguish between science and non-science. Distinguish antara ism, track, and verity. And the next. Okay, this is my research in 2022. I made a PCTA, Buddhist critical thinking assessment. PCTA is based on the Buddhist philosophy related to the criteria of someone who is considered to have the ability to think critically. This criteria explains that someone who has the ability to think critically does not easily accept the track just because it has been passed on from one generation to the next generation. In Indonesian language, jangan percaya kebenaran hanya karena dari satu generasi ke generasi berikutnya. The next, because the many people agree because it is justified by people, or the next, jadi percaya kalau sesuatu sudah tertulis dalam kitab, because it is the line with the logic, because according to the hypothesis or logic of time, jangan percaya apabila sesuatu memang sudah menjadi logis, jadi sesuatu yang logis, because it makes sense, because it was considered too long ago and considered true by teachers. Jangan percaya sesuatu yang sudah menjadi kebenaran yang lama dan diajarkan oleh guru. The ability to think critically according to Buddhist philosophy strongly encourage a person experience for himself. So in the Buddhist critical thinking, the real is still very based on empirically. The next, results. Of the 8 studies that discuss critical thinking skill for society in general, the concept on the critical thinking skill is divided into 3 aspects, namely character aspect, cognitive skill aspect, and content aspect. Aspect of character are explained by the concept of critical thinking according to Kuhlman, the moral standard on accessibility of philosophy, Paul and Elder, and Pancasakti. Aspect of cognitive skill are described by Paul and Elders, and standard encyclopedia of philosophy and Pancasakti. The content aspect is explained in detail by Sig and Pound and Susonko. And finally, we have the framework is next. Okay, this the framework of the instrument to assess about the specific critical thinking on my research. The first, someone that have the good critical thinking is able to distinguish between what is possible and what is not. Seseorang in Indonesian language, seseorang bisa membedakan apa yang mungkin dan tidak mungkin. Nanti kita bisa membuat instrumennya. And number 2, able to distinguish good, bad, and divide argument from scientific thinking. Membedakan sesuatu yang baik, jelek, dan menyimpan dari pemikiran rasional. This is very important because someone that have the good critical thinking don't believe on the paranormal or supranatural and etc. It's not very important. There's my paper, please. Okay, thank you. And the 3, able to distinguish between knowledge, belief, and events. What is events? Able to bisa membedakan pengetahuan knowledge, and belief, kepercayaan, and even, and please I give space and even PDF. Oh, okay, sorry. Okay. Able to distinguish between knowledge, belief, and event. So, jika itu knowledge bisa membedakan antara pengetahuan, keyakinan, dan kejadian. and then able to distinguish between real and unreal in personal experience. Bisa membedakan antara yang real dan yang tidak real dalam pengalaman pribadi. Sometimes someone is kadang-kadang beberapa orang melalui mimpi dianggapnya sebuah kebenaran. Padahal hanya only as mimpi. How we say mimpi in English? In a dream. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, only dream, but it's the fact. Okay. And factual. So we can distinguish between this dream or in this factual. In the five, able to distinguish science and non-science. This is very important because the nature of science. On my research about the scientific literacy, multidimensional scientific literacy, this is called the nature of science. Ya, so dia bisa membedakan antara yang IPA, yang science dan itu. And then the sixth is able to simple testing to the scientific method. Seseorang bisa melakukan menguji terhadap kebenaran dunia secara sederhana. Okay, thank you. That's the character aspect. Curious, seeking the truth. Curious is the meaning selalu mencari tahu ya. Kemudian seeking the truth, open mind, confident in reasoning. Always curious, always seeking the truth, open mind, systematic, and wise analytic. The level, and reflective thinkers, chance thinkers, beginning, practicing, advanced, and accomplishing. I think this is my planning to get funding on the next year from the big thing. Because this is my primary research that we want to, but I'm a measurement. I'm in psychometrics, so if we know about the concept on the framework, so one instrument, I want to make an instrument about the civic critical thinking. Okay, thank you very much for inviting me for ICEDES and success and a good evening. I'm sorry, good afternoon. This before everything.
Yeah, thank you very much, Professor Purwosusongko. Well, as a teacher back then, I mean, Professor Dr. Purwosusongko was a teacher in a senior high school, and now he is a professor in educational research and measurement, and also a lecturer. He does believe that critical thinking is the core of learning because it allows students or yes, to reflect on and comprehend their perspective. Also, I can conclude that critical thinking will help students in the future, their career, and also their life. Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Purwosusongko. So now we would like to invite our second speakers for ICEDES 2023. The Honorable Professor Umida Zia Muhamedova from Tashkent State Transfer University, Uzbekistan. I'd like to say hello first. Hello. Good afternoon, Prof. Umida. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I'm here.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you. Dear conference participants, I would like to welcome you to today's International Conference of Engineering, Design and Development. I think that conference of search rank will expand the circle of cooperation in the sphere of science and education between our country and will open opportunities for joint research. In my report, I would like to present to you the research conducted in Tashkent State Transport University and Department of Mechanical Building and Material Science. I would like also to inform you that your team conduct research in cooperation with foreign partners search in Indian National Institute of Technology, Srinagar, and Karabakh University, University Pancasakti, Tegal, Indonesia, as well as scientific group of our neighbored country. Our research is developed to the development of composition and technology of polymer heterocomposite production on the basis of structure and properties search which optimal physics, mechanicals, and tribological properties of application of mechanical building. Let me introduce to you a translator. To our translator of today's report, it's Dr. Khalishan Maksudova, who participates in our international projects. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you very much, Prof. Umida. So before Professor Umida start to give, I could say the lecture for today's conference, I'd like to read her CV. Would you please help me?
Let's. I start in my report.
Okay.
Okay.
Professor Umida Mukhamedova, Tashkent Institute of Chemical Technology, Uzbekistan. She graduated from BSc Engineering from 1990 up to 1995, and also doctoral studies in material science with specialization of polymer composite material, and also graduated from PhD program in material science in 2003, and from Doctor of Science in Material Science in 2015. So now I'd like to give it to Professor Umida Zia Mukhamedova to start the material. Please do.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Study of electrical conductivity properties of polymer composite materials. I start in Russian language, and Dr. Khalishan will translate my reports. Каждое научное открытие должно иметь свое практическое применение, поэтому в каждых наших исследованиях мы ставим цель применения результатов исследования на практике в производство. И особое внимание уделяется применению вторичных сырьевых ресурсов. Эта проблема актуальна на сегодняшний день, так как природные ресурсы имеют свой лимит и, несомненно, затрагивают тему защиты окружающей среды. В настоящее время одной из важнейших задач современного материаловедения является создание новых материалов для работы в агрессивных средах и экстремальных условиях. Полимерные композитные материалы широко применяются в промышленности и в технике для защиты металла от агрессивных и механически абразивных сред. И, к примеру, мы можем проанализировать оборудование, транспортирующее различные вещества. На слайде показаны примеры поврежденных оборудований при различных воздействиях агрессивных и абразивных сред.
Okay. Thank you, Midapa. Every scientific discovery must have its practical application. Therefore, in each of our studies, we set the goal applying the results of the study in practice in production. That special attention is paid to the use of the secondary raw materials and waste. This problem is relevant today. Since natural resources have their limits and undoubtedly affect the topic of environmental protection. At present, one of the most important tasks of the modern material science is the creation of new materials for operation in aggressive environments and extreme conditions. Polymer composite materials are widely used in industry and technology to protect metal from aggressive and mechanically abrasive media. For example, we can analyze equipment transporting various substances. In the picture, in the slide, you can see parts of equipment from the material structures damaged during the operation under the influence of an aggressive and abrasive environment. You can see how much the equipment of metal structures suffers destruction from corrosion and wear during operation.
На слайде вы можете увидеть, что части оборудования из металлоконструкций повреждены в процессе эксплуатации под воздействием абразивной и агрессивной среды. Здесь можно увидеть, насколько оборудование металлической конструкции претерпело разрушение от коррозии и износа в процессе эксплуатации.
So, and another example is equipment that collects liquid combustible production that have solid particles in the form of sand and stone in their composition. When they are used abrasive, wear inevitably occurs, leading to the rapid wear and action corrosion of material. Examples of these are visible in the picture you can see. So,
еще одним примером этого оборудования, этих оборудований является оборудование, которое собирает горючие жидкости в своем составе, жидкости, которые в своем составе имеют твердые включения в виде песка и камня. При их использовании непременно происходит абразивный износ, приводящий к быстрому износу и активной коррозии металла. Примерами тому могут быть рисунки, которые приведены на слайде. Это результаты абразивно-коррозионного износа оборудования.
Okay, just in this, we have already give this example given in the slide. You can see this in the slide that this condition, the abrasive wear inevitably occurs, leading to rapid wear and active corrosion of the material.
Такие виды абразивного износа металлических конструкций можно проанализировать не только в средах, когда участвуют жидкости или твердые включения. Абразивному износу также подвергается оборудование, которое транспортирует волокнистые вещества. Я хотела представить вам анимацию, но у меня в слайде анимация не движется. Почему-то это, наверное, техническая проблема. Ничего страшного. Значит, наши исследования показали, что износ оборудования также подвержен в процессе эксплуатации волокнистых материалов, когда волокно проходит через металлическое оборудование. Таким волокнистым наполнителем или волокнистым веществом или продуктом может быть хлопок или другие составляющие волокнообразные вещества. И в этом случае стоит вопрос разработки композиционных материалов, которые могут быть на основе полимеров, которые позволяют сохранить поверхность металлоконструкции от повреждений и при этом увеличить срок эксплуатации металлических оборудований, то есть поверхности металлоконструкций.
Okay, I would like to present you some small animation, but some technical problem. It couldn't move, so I will explain. We are showing a negative phenomenon in equipment where fibrous material such as cotton is transported. It seems that soft and fluffy cotton, being material of the organic origin, should not damage the equipment. But this is not the case. Our studies have shown how much cotton causes damage to the material surface when passing over the surface of equipment during the primary process of cotton. In addition, I want to note that the cotton itself is damaged. Microcuts of the fiber occur, the raw material and its quality are lost. This occurs during the triple contact of the raw cotton with a rough cutting surface of metal. The use of the composite polymer materials and coatings from them can significantly reduce fiber damage, which can be seen in the studies of the structure of the material.
В данном слайде приведены оборудования, при помощи которых мы проводим исследования. Объектом для наших исследований были образцы композиционных материалов на основе полиэтилена или эпоксидной смолы ЭД-20. Наполнители это дисперсный калий марки АКТ-10, армирующий наполнитель это стекловолокно, модифицирующие отходы нефтепереработки ПЭК, пластификатор дибутилфталат и для уменьшения хрупкости материала, который используется в многих случаях в композиционных материалах. Обязательным атрибутом и компонентом композиционных материалов на основе смол является отвердитель, и в качестве отвердителя был применен полиэтилен-полиамид. На слайде приведены приборы, при помощи которых были исследованы. Это эмиссионный сканирующий микроскоп, это X-ray дифрактометр, микротрубометр и другие приборы, которые позволяют изучить физико-механические свойства материалов.
Okay, the object for our research were samples of composite materials based on the polyethylene or epoxy resin AD20, fillers dispersed colon AKT10, reinforcing fiberglass, modifying oil refining West PEK, and plasticizer dibutyl phthalate to reduce the brightness of the material. Hardener polyethylene polyamides to form a mesh structure of material from the oligomeric resin. In this next slide, you can see the instruments with which the material were examined. These are field emission scanning electron microscope and X-ray diffractometer, MFT500 and micron tribe and others.
Конечно же, как было уже сказано выше, материалы на основе композиционных полимерных материалов, применяемых в машиностроении, можно расширить круг их применения. Одним из исследований, которое ведется в настоящее время у нас в транспортном университете, является получение втулок для тормозных систем поездов и вагонов. На слайде 6 приведена технологическая схема получения, то есть технологический процесс получения материала на основе гетерокомпозита из реактопласта связующего ЭД-20, где мы можем увидеть процесс, где происходит поэтапный пошаговый процесс получения модифицированных композитов. Это у нас и химическая модификация здесь идет, и механическая модификация. И приведены оборудования, которые используются у нас и в лабораторных условиях, и в настоящее время полученные образцы, то есть мини-технологические установки получения на производственных условиях. Это технология получения втулок из пресс-композит материалов.
So, in this picture, you can see that structure of the fibrous filler or fiberglass in the composite. And in polymer composite materials operating under friction and wear condition, the temperature created on the friction surface causes an increase in the friction coefficient due to the tribal charge, which can be controlled by an electrically conductive filler such as graphite. In our case, the function of the surface electrical conductivity is performed by carbon in the composition of the PEG. This is the purpose of the study in this report. If you increase the electrical conductivity of the material, this will lead to decrease in the tribal charge that occur during the operation of the parts operating in friction units such as brake system bushing. Okay.
На слайде вы можете увидеть образцы, которые были получены нами. Здесь дается также состав этих композиционных материалов, то есть компонентов, и в каком компонентах композиционных материалов. На основе данных компонентов были получены составы антифрикционно износостойких композиционных материалов.
So in this slide, you can see the study of the defense of the relative resistance on the concentration of the filler showed of the optimal amount of the conductive filler pack corresponds to 5%. The result of the research showed allowed us to choose the optimal composition of the material, which has a form shown in the table on the slide 13.
На слайде 8 приведены оптимальные составы для исследования. Были подготовлены различные составы, которые приведены в данной таблице, и образцы, как видите, они отличаются своим составом, где различие заключается в количестве наполнителя, так как, регулируя наполнители, мы можем придавать различные механические и антифрикционные свойства материалов. Также антифрикционные свойства диктуются и электропроводностью, и другими физическими и химическими процессами, которые происходят в процессе трибосопряжения, то есть трибоконтакта.
Состав. Second slide. Various compositions were prepared for the study, which are shown in the table 1. The sample differ in their composition, where the difference lies in the amount of filler. The composition of the and the tribotechnical properties of the result composition were investigated to select the most optimal. It's known the amount of wear due to the friction between the bodies varies in the direct proportion to the coefficient of mutual friction between them. The lower the value of the coefficient of the friction, the higher and the resistant property of the object to wear. Analyzing the result obtained in the table 2, the smallest value of the friction coefficient can be observed in the 5th sample. However, the absence of the fiberglass fillers in the material obtained in the 5th sample reduces the impact properties of such materials. If we look at the material sample number 10, we can see the coefficient of the friction does not differ significantly from the coefficient of friction of material sample number 5, which does not contain glass fiber. However, the presence of the glass fiber in the composition of this material increases the resistance of such material, not only to wear due to the friction, but also to inflict stress resulting from the dynamic loads.
Из таблицы видно, что основные свойства нефтяного пэка, который добавляется в качестве модификатора, объясняется тем, что содержит альфа-фракции органических веществ, которые представляют собой набор высокомолекулярных соединений. Она определяет возможности образования мезофазы и отвечает за граффитирующие свойства пэка. Поэтому в наших исследованиях были изучены вид и количество наполнителей, которые приведены в таблице 1, и выбранные составы, приведенные, основываясь на их свойствах, приведенных в таблице 2, это составы 4, 5, 9 и 10. При этом коэффициент трения состава номер 4 несколько выше, чем у состава 9, который объясняется тем, что продольные и поперечные волокна наполнителя, волокнистого наполнителя в составе композита оказывает сопротивление в процессе трибодвижения. Структура стекловолокна, которая оказывает влияние на коэффициент трения, показана на слайде 10.
So, the table shows that the main properties of the petroleum pitch are explained by the content of the fraction, which is set of the high molecular compounds. It determined the possibility of mesophase formation and is responsible for graphizing properties of the pitch. Therefore, in our study, the type of amount of the filler were studied in the table 1, and composition number 10, number 4 and 5 were selected as anti-friction compound, and number 9 and number 10 were resistant. At the same time, the coefficient of the friction of the composition 10 is somewhat higher than that our composition number 9, which can be explained by the fact that the longitude and the transverse fibers of the fibrous fibers in the composition resist during the tribal motion. The fiber structure is shown on the next slide.
Наши исследования показали, что данное явление объясняется тем, что в полимерных композитных материалах, работающих в условиях трения и износа, температура, создаваемая на поверхности трения, вызывает увеличение коэффициента трения за счет трибозаряда, который можно регулировать электропроводящими наполнителями, например, графитом. В нашем случае функцию поверхностной электропроводности выполняет углерод в составе ПЭКа. В этом заключается цель исследования, так как если увеличить электропроводность материала, это приведет к уменьшению трибозаряда, который возникает при эксплуатации деталей, работающих в узлах трения. Так, например, втулки в тормозных системах поездов. Кроме того, поскольку ПЭК в своем составе является углеродсодержащим наполнителем, он выступает в роли полифункционального наполнителя, поскольку ароматические соединения в таких органических композитах способствуют повышению термостабильности свойств полимерного композитного материала, который объясняется тем, что структура нефтяного ПЭКа имеет вид мезофазы, и мезофаза состоит из конденсированных органических соединений вместе с углеродом, образуя пластичную структуру, пластинчатую структуру, которая выполняет функцию полифункционального модификатора наполнителя, который анализом свойства его можно объяснить анализом структуры поверхности материала, приведенного на слайде 11.
Okay, for the use of polymer composite materials in the manufacture of wear-resistant friction parts used in the mechanical engineering is one of the most effective means of ensuring the operational working resource of units. But the physical and mechanical properties of polymer composite materials do not always meet the requirements. For example, in manufacture of the parts of metallic materials operating under friction, there is no accumulation of electrical charge on their surface due to the fact that metals are good conductors of electricity. Since the electrical conductivity of polymer materials is very low, electrical charges resulting from the friction accumulate on the surface of parts and have a direct effect on the mechanical properties of material, causing an increase in the intensity of deformation of material, improving the electrical properties of polymer composite materials can be achieved by adding filler and higher electrical conductivity to the composition. But at the same time, suitable modification methods should be found in order for the material to have the optimal uniform structure to provide it with the required properties during the operation.
Из анализа структуры, приведенного на слайде и полученного нами при помощи СЭМ, электронной микроскопии, мы можем увидеть, что на поверхности композитного материала структура материала видна неравномерность и неоднородная структура, где не присутствует ПЭК. По сравнению со структурой материала, полученного механически активированным механохимическим методом модификации в присутствии отхода ПЭК.
Just a minute, I have to... Sorry for... Just components were placed in the bin. The dry components measured in the distributor in the given proportion are mechanically activated together in the vibropolymeric mechanical activator for 30 minutes. In this case, the epoxy resin is mixed with the dibutyl phthalate in the pedal mixer at the degree 60 degrees until it's evenly distributed over the volume. Then the mixture prepared in the technological equipment and are mixed mechanical mixer with the addition of 5 or 6% glass fiber until they are evenly distributed over the volume. At the last stage, the paper hardener composite is added to the prepared mixture in the required amount and placed in a mold, pressed in a press at the temperature of 140 degrees, 160 degrees, and under the pressure of 10 and 30 MAP for 50 minutes. Then we cool the mold in the air for the 5 and 50 minutes and get the finished material.
Исследование зависимости относительного сопротивления от концентрации наполнителя показало, что оптимальное количество электропроводящего наполнителя, которое мы добавляли в виде отхода нефтяного ПЭКа, составляет 5% и является оптимальным, что показано с методами исследования электропроводимости и структурного анализа при помощи сканирующей электронной микроскопии. Это у нас слайд 12.
Just a minute. In addition, since pitch in its composition, it's a carbon-containing filler acts a polyfunctional filler, since aromatic compounds in such organic composition contribute to an increase in the thermal stability of the properties of the polymer composite material, which is explained by the fact that the structure of the petroleum PEG has the form of mesophase, and the mesophase consists of the constant organic compounds, and together with carbon forms and lamellar layered structure, which forms the function of the polyfunctional filler modifier.
Таким образом, были разработаны составы и подобран оптимальный состав для применения в различных сферах оборудований при замене или же защите его в качестве покрытия, и оптимальным композиционным составом является состав, приведенный на слайде 13, где в состав входит до 5% волокнистого наполнителя, 23% дисперсного наполнителя и отхода производства в качестве пластификатора и электропроводящего наполнителя это 20-22% ПЭКа. Остальная часть составляет связующий, отвердитель и пластификаторы ДВФ.
The study of the defense of the resistance of the concentration of the filler showed that the optimal amount of the conductive filler PEG corresponds to the 5%, and the result of the research allowed to choose the optimal composition of the material, which has the form shown in the table on the slide 13.
И в заключение хочу резюмировать, что результаты исследования. Хочу сказать, что в химически модифицированных и механоактивированных композитных материалах установлено, что поверхность гидрокомпозита активируется в процессе добавления модификатора ПЭК, который улучшает процесс структурного образования благодаря наличию ароматических и гетероциклических соединений. Полученные результаты показывают, что выбранный оптимальный состав и технологии получения позволяют получить надежные композитные материалы, чтобы для повышения их работоспособности и расширения сферы их применения за счет использования в качестве волокнистого наполнителя это сцелковое волокно, и могут быть другие также наполнители в структуры, волокнообразной структуры, и полуфункциональные наполнители. Подбор наполнителей и его количество с учетом показателей коэффициента трения может быть выбран в зависимости от области их применения. В заключение хочу выразить свою благодарность профессору Мухаммад Фарук Пани, директору Центра трибологии материалов Национального технологического института Шринагар, являющийся нашим партнером в совместных исследованиях в международном проекте, который ведется между двумя странами Индией и Узбекистаном в настоящее время. Это у нас прикладной проект, и думаю, что в этом году предстоит нам его плодотворное и его завершение.
So, in conclusion, I would like to summarize the results of the study. In chemically modified and mechanically activated composites, it has found that the surface of the heterocomposite is activated and the modifier PEG improves the process of interstructural formation due to the presence of aromatic and heterocyclic compounds, which also contribute to an increase in the thermoductive properties of materials. The results obtained showed that with the selected or optimal composition and production technology, the reliability of composite materials can be increased by using fiberglass and polyfunctional vest pitch filler as fillers. By selecting the filler and its quantity, taking into account the coefficient of friction, you can select the areas of their application. In conclusion, I want to express my gratitude to Professor Muhammad Farooq Wani, Director of Center of the Tribology of Materials at the National Institute of Technology, Srinagar, India, who is our partner in joint research on an international project that is being conducted between our universities.
Thank you very much. Thank you, University of Pancasakti Tegal, for organizing this conference. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Umida. Also, my appreciation goes to Dr. Holison Maksudopa. Thank you for being translator for today's conference. And I would like to highlight what Professor Umida said, that every scientific discovery must have its practical application. Well, in line with the questions, how scientific discoveries are transformed into innovative products. As Professor Umida's research focus is on the use of secondary raw material and also waste. Very interesting. And also what makes the more interesting that this research conducted by Pancasakti University along with some university partners from Indonesia, from India, also from Turkey. So yeah, my appreciation goes to Professor Umida. Thank you very much, Prof.
Thank you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, now I'd like to come to our third speaker, and I'd like to invite here on Zoom Dr. Takashi from Atsuchi Neurosurgical Hospital. Good afternoon, Dr. Takashi Kawahara.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon from Kuala Lumpur.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, sure. It is audible. So I'd like to give it to you, Dr. Takashi. Would you like to open your PowerPoint from your side or from our side?
May I share my screen?
Oh yeah, sure. So Pak Fahmi, let's to make Dr. Takashi as the co-host. Yes, you may start, Dr. Takashi.
Today in Japan, a typhoon coming. So heavy rain and strong wind will, I'm afraid, will cut the web connection. But please hear my presentation. And again, hello everyone. It's good to see you today. I'm Takashi Kawahara. It's a great honor to be able to speak to you. Before I start, I'd like to thank Professor Yoga Purihachin and Ms. Tomoko Shinchi for giving me this opportunity. The title of my presentation is The Important Role of the Spinal Canal in cerebrospinal fluid dynamics invented from post-operative complication of idiopathic normal pressure hydrocephalus. My hometown, Kagoshima City, is south of Japan. Now, strong wind. And Kagoshima City is famous for its active volcano, Sakurajima Island. This is a picture of Atsuji Neurosurgical Hospital. I am one of the neurosurgeons in this hospital. My topic is divided into 3 parts. First, I'll talk about lumboperitoneal shunt for idiopathic normal pressure hydrocephalus. Second, I'll talk about major complication after LP shunt. And finally, I'd share the idea of our study, which indicates the new pathogenesis of INPH. Okay, I'll talk about LP shunt for INPH. 新地さん大丈夫ですかね？見えてます？
あ、見えてて、はい、全部大丈夫です。はい。
Sorry. Idiopathic normal pressure hydrocephalus, INPH, was first reported in 1965 by Dr. Adams and Dr. Hakim. Some elderly patients with dementia, gait disturbance, and urinary incontinence had enlarged ventricles despite normal cerebrospinal fluid pressure, CSF pressure. CSF shunt surgery improved their symptoms. More than 50 years later, the etiology of this disease is still unknown. Symptoms of INPH are dementia, gait disturbance, and urinary incontinence, sometimes described as the triad of symptoms. These symptoms occur in older age and are slowly progressive. This is magnetic resonance images, MRI, of the normal brain. The black space in the middle are the ventricles, where CSF accumulates. The black stripes on the surface of the brain are the cerebral sulcus. The largest temporal sulcus is called the Sylvian fissure. This is the MR image of INPH patient. It looks like brain atrophy, but it has certain specific features. Blue arrows show the enlarged ventricles. Red circles indicate the narrowing of the high convexity and the median sulcus. Red arrows show the enlargement of the Sylvian fissure. Yellow arrows are the enlargement of focal cerebral sulcus. These 4 characteristic findings are called disproportionately enlarged subarachnoid space hydrocephalus, or DESH for short. The process of diagnosing INPH is illustrated as an algorithm, and CSF shunt intervention is effective for treating INPH. Currently, 3 types of surgery are performed on patients with INPH. Ventriculoperitoneal shunt, VP shunt, ventriculoatrial shunt, VA shunt, and lumboperitoneal shunt, LP shunt. The research group of the Normal Pressure Hydrocephalus Society of Japan proved the good effect of LP shunt on INPH in the multi-center prospective clinical study, Symphony 2. My technical note is cited in this paper. This is one of the figures in this paper. 3 months after LP shunt treatment, LP shunted group more improved than the conservative treatment group. After the Symphony 2 study, 55% of INPH patients are treated with LP shunt surgery in Japan. But LP shunt has the weakness of high frequency of post-operative minor complications. At the period of this Symphony 2 study, the most common complications that required reoperation was subcutaneous migration of the abdominal castor from the peritoneal cavity. On the left is the X-ray of the castor migration. On the right is a CT scan of the cell. The castor migrates to the subcutaneous space. This is my technical report for preventing this migration. The abdominal castor is no longer exposed in the surgical space. After this complication is resolved, the most common and serious complication at present is overdrainage. Next, I'll talk about overdrainage after LP shunt. This is the typical findings of overdrainage after LP shunt surgery. Also, static headache occurs with decreased CSF volume. In the Symphony 2 study, total events of minor and serious overdrainage are approximately 30% after LP shunt. CT and MRI sometimes reveals subdural effusion or subdural hematoma. Red arrow is subdural hematoma. This is an abdominal X-ray of the patient immediately after LP shunt. To avoid this complication, a programmable valve placed in course of the system. This is one of the shunt valves we use in LP shunt surgery. It consists of 3 parts: reservoir, programmable valve, and anti-siphon system. This valve has 8 levels of opening pressure to regulate the flow of CSF. And this valve can be set to the highest pressure over the 40 centimeter H2O. The programmable valve is placed in the shunt system. And this flowchart is our management of overdrainage after LP shunt. Initial valve pressure setting is highest setting. And 1 week after surgery, when the patient has no overdrainage symptoms, we will decrease the valve setting. When the overdrainage appears under the highest setting, patient should be bed rest as soon as possible. When the overdrainage symptoms shows improvement, the programmable valve will be gradually set lower. And we recommend the additional tandem valve method when the overdrainage would not be reduced despite the highest setting. This is the intraoperative picture of the tandem valve method. A skin incision is made in the flank. The abdominal catheter is transected once, and an additional valve is connected in tandem. The gravity valve is placed vertically to the catheter. It is a post-operative X-ray with this additional tandem valve method. Overdrainage has been resolved in all cases so far. By the way, how long should we keep patient bed rest? And when should we decide to do the additional tandem valve method? It is easy to diagnose to do overdrainage with the finding of ventricular narrowing and subdural hematoma. But when there are little intracranial change, the patient is forced to bed rest for a long time. We will propose a new idea about the dynamics of cerebrospinal fluid. We reported the unique MRI findings in a disease, spontaneous intracranial hypotension, and overdrainage after LP shunt. Normally, spinal cord exists in the middle of the spinal canal. This is a thoracic spinal MRI in SIH and overdrainaged cases. In this image, we can see typical findings. First, white arrow, anterior deviation of the spinal cord, and the blue arrowhead, anterior shift of the posterior dramata of spinal dural sac, and the venous dilation of the epidural space, as shown by the red arrow. We named these findings dural sac shrinkage sign, or DSSS for short. We can see Batteson's venous plexus in the spinal epidural space, as indicated by the red arrow. We realized that the structure of the spinal canal buffers the reduction of cerebrospinal fluid. And we additionally noticed that the structure of the spinal canal buffers the pulsation of the CSF. like this. This is a simple illustration of the mechanism which buffers the CSS pulsation. This idea will be reported in a medical journal near future. Elderly patients often present with spinal degenerations. For example, scoliosis and cerebral disc disease. The degeneration of the spinal canal reduces this buffering function. Pulsation of CSF enlarges the ventricles and sulci, resulting in hydrocephalus. My knowledge of high school physics helps me understanding the pathogenesis of hydrocephalus. This is the last slide. LP shunt is minimum invasive procedure for INPH treatment. Post-operative overdrainage is the most serious complication and might be solved by additional tandem valve method. We found the characteristic findings, DSSS, in the thoracic spinal MRI for overdrainage diagnosis. We proposed that the spinal canal buffers CSF pulsation and its reduction might be etiology of INPH. Thank you for your attention. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Takashi, for the explanations about idiopathic normal pressure hydrocephalus, or I should say Adams syndrome. Is that right, Dr. Takashi? Idiopathic normal pressure hydrocephalus, or Adams syndrome. So as Dr. Takashi Kawahara explained that this is characterized by an expansion of the ventricle of the brain against the background of normal intracranial pressure, or ICEDES. Now we come to our last or fourth speakers for ICEDES 2023. I'd like to call upon Dr. Yossi from Tegal, Malaysia. Good afternoon, Dr. Yossi.
Yeah, hello.
Hello.
Very good afternoon, everyone.
Hey, Bu Yossi.
Yeah, hello.
Hello.
Sorry, my camera, I have problem with my camera. I try fix it, but didn't work, so I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, Alhamdulillah. How are you?
Fine, thank you. So we just landed in Kuala Lumpur today. We directly head to the hotel, and now we have a conference with you. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay.
Well, we go on. I'd like to read a CV of Dr. Yossi Andriani.
Hello?
Hello, Dr. Yossi.
Okay. It's time for me to present. Sorry, I cannot hear you clearly. So, okay.
Okay, hello, can you listen?
Okay.
Okay. Is it clear now?
Yes.
Well, ladies and gentlemen,
sometimes, yeah.
Sorry? Clear enough?
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Introduce you to Dr. Yossi Andriani, lecturer and researcher. in University Malaya Terengganu from 2013 until now on. He graduated from bachelor degree bio-research and course in chemistry study program. And also in 1992 up to 1997, graduated from Universitas Sriwijaya Palembang, Indonesia. Now she is in charge in Natural and Synthetic Products Cluster Institute of Marine Biotechnology, University Malaysia Terengganu. Well, ladies and gentlemen, now I'd like to call upon Dr. Yosi Andriani to present the presentation. Please do.
Okay, I'm sorry. Wait a minute. Okay, I will use earphone because your voice is not clear for me. Okay, I will share my screen. Okay. Okay, thank you. Miss or Mrs. Moderator. Okay, I'm Yosi from IMB, but now we have a new name, ICAM, Institute of Climate Adaptation and Marine Biotechnology. Since IMB will join in high CEO, so should change the name to Institute of Climate Adaptation and Marine Biotechnology. Okay, today I would like to present the topic is correlated to the climate change and marine environment. Okay, how to, okay. Okay, source of this presentation was adapted from the Google Scholar, YouTube, PubMed, course, and Web Science in order to find the information related to the keyword such as climate change and environment, ecosystem, climate change and fisheries and mangrove and etc. related to the climate change and marine environment. So before we start deeply, so what is climate change? Maybe everyone already know what is climate change, right? Because day by day, it's hot in Terengganu, especially. We reach until 35 degree Celsius. It's very hot lately. Then we know that is effect of the climate change. Okay, climate change refer to long-term shift in the temperatures and weather patterns. Such a shift can be natural due to change in the sun's activity or large volcanic eruption. But you know, since the 1800, human activities have been the main driver of climate change. So, okay. What the activity? Human activity, like burning fossil fuels generates greenhouse gas emission. Yeah, with trapping the sun heat and raising the temperature. So from this figure, we can see that solar radiation reaches the Earth's atmosphere. Some of this is reflected back into the space. Some of fake and some of trapped in the atmosphere and keep the Earth warm enough to sustain life. Okay. Okay. And then another activity is a greenhouse. Okay. The main greenhouse gases that are causing climate change include carbon dioxide and methane. These come from using gasoline for driving a car or coal for heating a building. For example, clearing land and cutting down forests can also release carbon dioxide. Agriculture, oil, gas operation are major sources of methane emission. Energy, industry, transport, buildings, agriculture, and land use are among the main sectors causing greenhouse gases. So this is the greenhouse effect. Some sunlight that hits the earth is reflected, some becomes heat. And then CO2 and other gases in the atmosphere trap heat and keeping the earth warm. That's why lately in Terengganu, we feel very hot. Maybe this is one of the effect of this. Okay. Okay, this is the consequences of climate change now include, among others, intense drought, water scarcity, severe fires, rising sea levels, flooding, melting polar ice, catastrophic storm, and declining biodiversity. Wow, scary, right? And then how does climate change affect also? Before we start for the next slide, since actually my research background is correlated to the herbal medicine. Okay, I use a herbal plant to treat some many disease. I check the antioxidant, anti-bacteria, anti-hypercholesterolemia, anti-inflammatory, and anti-cancer, and study on their mechanism. But after I work in UMT, since UMT have marine as niche area, so I change my sample research to the marine plant, such as coastal plant and mangrove. So that's why in this time, my presentation focused on the marine plant, especially coastal plant. Sorry, mangrove plant. Yes, mangrove plant and seagrass and so on. Also, so how does climate change affect marine ecosystem? First, okay, related to the marine mangrove plant, seagrass, they will have the marine ecosystem, especially for fish and marine organism. So today, the ocean has absorbed about 90% of the heat generated by rising emission. As the excessive heat and energy warms to the ocean, the change in the temperature leads to unparalleled cascading effect, including ice melting, sea level rise, marine heat wave, and the ocean acidification. So from this figure, we can see that CO2 increased by the climate change, such as burning fossil fuels and so on that I talked before. It will make our ocean warmer, less oxygen, and more acidic. So this situation can cause the sea level rise is accelerating flooding, coastal community, and downing wetland habitats, and will bleaching, warm water, coral reef, marine biodiversity hotspot could be lost if the planet warmed by 2°C Celsius. And the toxic algae, larger and more frequent blooms are making fish, birds, marine mammals, and people sick. Okay, sometimes habitats in the ocean, lower oxygen level are suffocating some marine animals and sinking their habitats. And acidification causes more acidic water harms animals that will sell, such as coral, clams, and oyster. So fisheries destruction in fisheries affect the marine food web, livelihoods, and global food security. Okay, next, 5 ways that climate change affect the ocean. First, higher temperature are bad for fish and for us, of course, because it is correlated to the food. And then polar ice is melting, rising sea level represent our slow, seemingly unstoppable threat. Warming oceans alter currents, and climate change is affecting to the chemistry of seawater. So this is higher temperature are bad to fish. Why? So you can see from this how water temperature affect this. Water temperature will affect the metabolism, feeding, spawning, growth, distribution, and survival of the fish. Okay, Suddenly rising ocean temperature are forcing fish to abandon their historic territories and move to cooler waters. Climate change disrupt ocean pattern, and thus fish distribution and migration pattern with direct risks to food security of fish-dependent coastal community. Okay, next. This is a polar ice melting, and the rising sea level represent a slowly can cause polar ice is melting can cause the rising sea levels represent a slowly seemingly unstoppable threat. So from this figure, we can see that sea level increase by from 2010 to and predict will rise until 2100. So we can see in 2100 maybe our city already covered by water. Oh my God! So we don't want this happen, right? So and then next is treat the ocean currents. Sorry. And then climate change is affecting the chemistry of seawater. So CO2 increase when CO2 enter the ocean is dissolved and react with water and changes pH. So water more acidic, and it can also cause a range of biological effects such as reduced growth and reproduction and change to metabolism of fish. Okay, the effect of ocean acidification of the tiny plants and animals, phytoplankton and zooplankton that are at the base of the marine food chain can limit the food available to large organisms. So, and as a result, ocean acidification is likely to affect coastal community, which depend on marine resources for their livelihood. So, okay. From this, we can see that CO2 or acidification is very bad to the marine organism. So we need how to overcome this problem. Okay. Okay. In order to protect the ocean and slow the impact of the climate change, the science indicate we need to take action of two fronts. Mainly cut the carbon dioxide emission to zero by 2050, increase ocean health by reducing pollution, foraging, and safeguarding critical marine and coastal habitats. And okay, how we do that? So we should taking action to reduce the carbon dioxide and climate change effect. How? Maybe we can a biota ecosystem, and then manipulation of biological and ecological adaptation. So this is maybe assisted evaluation and genetic modification. Researcher will do it. Relocation and reef restoration, and then solar radiation management, and then addressing the cause of climate change such as renewable energy and vegetation. Restoration and conservation of coastal vegetation to enhance CO2 uptake and avoid further emission. Okay, so we need to restoration and conservation of coastal farm vegetation because coastal vegetation of coastal plants, mangrove, seagrass can enhance CO2 uptake. Okay, then fertilization enhance open ocean productivity by adding nutrient and alkalinization, global and local. So after our sea ocean be acidic, very acidic, and then we need to alkalinization, an addition of natural or man-made alkalinity to enhance CO2 removal and or carbon storage. So that's why maybe our reduce the rising of the temperature in the ocean. And this is 5 blue forests that are vital to live on Earth: mangrove, salt marshes, seagrass meadows, rockweed, kelp forests. And this is they all have their ability to make our world safety. And then this is mangrove protection demonstration. Okay, we can see why mangrove, why. So so mangrove protection demonstrate. We can see in here how the mangrove forest can stop wave action and protect storyline during a storm surge. So we can see. So mangrove, so this is okay, reduce stop wave from this part, okay, from this part. Okay, this is a simple action to demonstrate the mangrove protection during a storm. Then next, coast research reported how mangrove and seagrass can help mitigate climate change also. So you can see this is a 5-minute video. So please stay to look, since mangrove and seagrass have potential to reduce the climate change effect.
Dr. Yossi, I'm so sorry for the video down. We can see the video, but it doesn't have any sound.
Okay. Mangrove as blue carbon, since mangroves can reduce the carbon dioxide, yeah, and increase the alkalinity So it's very important to the habitats. Yes.
Ketika dia harusnya centang sananya bunyi, kitanya nggak bunyi.
Okay, very good video, right? So from this video, we can see that climate change actually human can reduce the climate change effect through the mangrove occupation and seagrass. So we can keep we increase the sorry, we can hear my voice. That support thousands of marine species, store carbon, improve water quality, protect coastline, cycle and create habitat corridors between coral reefs and mangrove. So this is also almost the same video correlated to the effect of seagrass and reported about the unexpected climate change care solution by the seagrass in the sea, so can protect our marine organism. This video is not long, and then you can see the video. Many solutions for climate change are found in the ocean itself, actually. And then according to a new report, up to 18 of the world oceanic carbon is stored in seagrass. So seagrass have function to store the CO2, and that's why carbon dioxide will reduce in the ocean, and then ecosystem in the waters will be safe. Okay, and then that's all my presentation. So let's save our world and Sarangi, salam. I'm Dr. Yosi Andriani. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Yosi Andriani. Sarangi. Well, I'd like to what Dr. Yosi said, cut net carbon dioxide emissions to 0 by 2050. Well, I think carbon neutrality by 2050 is the world's most urgent missions nowadays. As a global community, we have to represent this kind of
sorry, your voice is too small. I cannot hear you clearly.
Okay, yeah. Hello, Dr. Yosi, is it clear enough? I think, yeah, the connection is broke. It's broken.
Putus-putus.
Putus-putus ya, Ibu.
Ya, sorry. Ya, putus-putus. Kadang-kadang oke, kadang-kadang tak oke.
We can hear your voice clearly. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Also, we have Dr. Kawahara here, and Dr. Yoga would like to say thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kawahara. Miss Tomoko. Good evening here, Dr. Kawahara.
Good afternoon.
We will miss you. Hopefully someday to Japan. I mean, my university to have like visiting some university or maybe MOU signing or maybe any kind of collaborative works. Dr. Kawahara, thank you for your nice presentation.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a great honor for us here. Thank you so much. Thank you. Just to say
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Yeah, thank you. Also, we have Professor Umida here. Hello, Professor Umida. Hello, Dr. Umida. Dr. Umida, are you there? Dr. Umida? Dr. Umida, are you there? Hello? Okay. Well, I see you in Singapore August 17th. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yoga. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. 23. So now we go to the question and answer station. Well, actually, I have one question to Dr. Kawahara. Would it be okay if I ask the question? If I myself ask the question?
Okay.
Well, your presentation about interdiaphragmal pressure hydrocephalus, say and say that it is a slowly progressive disease that occurs in the elderly, and it consists of burden of the family. And I could say that most patients with this disease are over 65 years old, maybe young. So my question is, how does Japan government deal with the disease? As we know that Japanese people have the longest lifespan, maybe over 65 or maybe over 70 years. So how does the Japanese government deal with this disease? Dr. Kawahara, that's my question.
I'm sorry. The connection is very bad. So I can't hear your question.
Okay.
Almost
so, can you hear my voice clearly? Is it clear enough? I think the connection is not stable. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's okay, Dr. Kawahara. Maybe I could ask later on. Okay. Yeah. So let's move to other questions. Does anyone have any questions to our speakers? Before we go on to our next session, any questions?
Okay, I think I have a question, Miss.
Oh yeah, okay. Zaki, go on.
Yes, thank you so much for your time.
Okay.
Okay, thank you so much for your time. Let me introduce myself to you. My name is Zaki Rafi Shaukisha. You can call me Zaki. I'm a student from University of Pancasakti Tegal, and my course is Utilization Fisheries Water Resources, and my faculty is Faculty of Marine and Fisheries Sciences. Right.
Okay,
question to Dr. Yosi Andriani from Malaysia.
Yosi, okay, please.
Yeah.
Okay. because my cause is marine fisheries filed, and in my file is marine fisheries. I have a question about the climate change for the sea, because you know the pollution from the factory and from the pollution from the car or pollution from the motorcycle, even from the ship, from the like fishermen go to the sea and the fishermen throw the trash or throw the food to the sea, and that's very dangerous for the fish. And how if the contamination from the pollution or fuel, pollution contamination to the sea, and that kind of contamination to the fish, and how if we eat that fish, and how can we prevent the the water from the sea, so that the water can be clean again and the fish will be more better, I think, for to be eat, because a lot of people like fish, I think, and fish is good food also to be eat because the nutrient is good as well, thing like that.
Hello?
Yes. Can you hear my voice? Excuse me, can you hear my voice?
Hello?
Hello? Can you hear my voice? Excuse me, can you hear my voice?
Yeah. Hello?
Hello? Wait a minute.
You can rephrase your question.
Wait a minute. I try to fix why. It's look okay.
Wait.
But I.
Wait.
Wait a minute. I try.
You have a question box?
Sorry.
You can write it down on the chat question.
Can you hear my voice?
Yeah, we can hear.
I don't know
Okay.
you can hear me, my voice or not, but I don't know, maybe, I don't know, or I cannot hear your voice here.
Okay.
I don't know what the problem is.
Recording in progress.
Maybe we can email me if you want to discuss more about the question. And I thought I have problem with my laptop. With the camera and the speakers. So if I don't know you can hear me or not, but if you can hear me, so please send anything problem or anything question that you curious to my email. So yossi.hs@umta.my. Sorry for the problem.
Yeah.
Okay, Miss. Wait, can you hear my voice?
Okay.
Once again.
I think that's enough. You can email to Dr. Okay? Yeah.
Okay, Miss.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that's okay, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of the panel session. Thank you very much for all the distinguished professors and speakers for today's conference. I'd like to say thank you very much to Dr. Yossi, Dr. Kawahara, Dr. Umida, also our dearest Professor Purwosusongko from Universitas Pancasakti Tegal. Again, on behalf of this conference, Dr. Umida, Dr. Kawahara, Dr. Umida, hi, Dr. Umida, you look great. You look great, Dr.
Hi. Thank you. I'm here. Hello, Dr. Yoga. How are you? I'm glad to see you in this conference.
Yeah, it's an honor for me too to see you here in this conference. And see you in Singapore. Okay. Mr. Mokon, thank you so much. This is so helpful for us.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's a great honor for us. And Dr. Kawahara. And especially, thank you so much. Thank you. And Dr. Yossi, thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. In fact, to Ibu Ms. Ita as the moderator today. Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Yoga. So before we end this, to take a screenshot or let's say photo for all the distinguished speakers, Fahmi, which will help. So everyone, please smile to the camera. Pak Fahmi will help this.
Aktifkan kamera itu banyak.
Yeah. Could you please turn on the camera? So we can take the picture together. Say 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Thank you very much. So now we would like to go to the parallelization presenters of ICEDES 2023. So we have 9 presenters from Universitas Pancasakti Tegal, Universitas Diponegoro, and Universitas Diponegoro. I'd like to say thank you very much for all the speakers. Okay, so now I'd like to call upon my friends from Universitas Pancasakti Tegal, Mr. B. Henry Irawan, with the paper title Fish Shaping Management Strategy for Increasing the Economy of Fishermen Communities in Indonesia. So, Mr. B. Irawan, please do. Dear speaker, if you have any other agenda, you may leave the Zoom. It is okay. Because we will continue to the parallelization presenter. Thank you.
Bentar, Pak. Itu aja.
Thank you for everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for the time given. The following, I will present the result of the study entitled I will present the result of the study entitled Fish Savings Management Strategy for Increasing the Economy of Fishermen Communities in Indonesia. For introduction, fishermen in Indonesia likely primarily from fish catch. Fishermen's catch price that can be fluctuate due to a variety of factors such as season, supply, demand, and economic situation, accordingly on 2011. There are instances when fish catches drop dramatically or become unprofitable. This is an indication that fishermen's income is unclear, speculative, and fluctuating, according to study in 2007, and resulting in an economy that is below poverty line. However, according to FAO 2005, fishery resources continue to have significant potential in many countries for food security and poverty alleviation. This corresponds to an increase in fishing activity to meet the food demands of the neighboring population in the island market demand and home and abroad, according to Premier Santo in 2019. This case data last 2 years of Java on statistics data from the National Validation Data Report and Visual Data. That fishermen would be able to deposit their daily cash to the fish savings manager. We can see at the figure 2, there is a management of fish savings concept. Savings can be taken in important condition. We know that this model can be reduced.
Yeah.
This is a factor that affects dishonest income is percent. Better to use the money for treatment than to save. And then fishermen's trust and knowledge of the service is very problem. Then the desire to cut possibility of unexpected things happening in the future, and increase in the interest rate will amount of propensity to save. This study investigates how fishermen can actively engage in strengthening their economy in the future by using of this statistics management system. In which they deposit their fish, they catch every day to the manager. And then management can take the step of unique cooperative. This is
ini ngisi kehadiran di situ di chat, room chat.
That only asset deposit seafood collected by coastal fishermen daily. The amount of fish placed is determined by the ability of coastal the fish. According to the Indonesian Center for Statistics, coastal fishing areas already have fishermen's cooperatives. Also, only a small number of members belong to this cooperative. We can see the figure 4. There is the percentage of coastal fishermen who are members of the cooperative in Indonesia. We can see center of Java, 0.55% become a member. This is a problem. Then this is the presence of main reason for not becoming a cooperative member. This is the main reason for not becoming a cooperative member. In the figure 6, the process of fish get, they are the fish savings managers. And then the manager of fish savings will record the nominal account of money to be saved according to the purchase price of fish from fishermen. And then fishermen receive information of the amount of their savings. The fish savings manager will have sell fish caught by fishermen in the market. And then profits from sales will be used to manage the fish savings cooperative. This is a strategic governance. You can see in the figure 7. Fish savings strategic governance is there is a mobility of fish savings managers, the output of fishermen's catch, and fishermen's education about the system. This is important. We need to education the fishermen about the system. And then saving management system. There is savings manager and fishermen's in model area, and then counseling fishermen about the importance of saving and the saving system support application. We need another system like support application. Maybe we can use handphone or laptop. Figure 8, we can see application development. This is rapid application development with for build a system by it can be accessed by instruments Android. Method RD can be used to create programs utilized on mobile devices. This method is an object-oriented approach to system development. The system is designed using UML, or we can say Unified Modeling Language, in the following manner. You can see the figure 8. This is a system was planning in the beginning, and then system design, development, and finally implementation. Figure 9. This is a UML, or Unified Modeling Language model is setting application. We have application is setting application the system, and we have object, setting manager, and instrument who can access this application. Okay, in conclusion, NP says that the establishment of this setting management strategy in the form of a settings cooperative in the form of deposit of this scope every day for fishermen will assist fishermen, particularly in coastal areas. The fishing village would gain financial independence in the future, allowing them to use their catch to meet urgent particular needs or during times of famine. The form of cooperative, especially in addition to the form of savings and loan, the notion of savings must be added. Members of the savings cooperative are free to everyone who is fisherman, but must adhere to the requested daily income standard. And finally, the implementation plan demands the mobility of the fish savings manager to be able to be immediately in a location close to the fisherman's catch being stocked, as well as the necessity to this fisherman to begin depositing a portion of their fish for saving. I think thank you very much for time given. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Behagan, for the presenters for the panelization. Now we come to the last presenters. I'd like to call upon Mr. Alin with the title Value of Mangrove and Crab Cultivations Development Patterns in Kaliblini Village, Brebes. Mr. Alin, please do.
Okay, thank you very much for Ms. Nana, and then we will go to my presentation for proceeding international seminar in Kuala Lumpur, August 2023. In hope we can to make a better presentation for Mr. Fahmi and Ms. Yuni. We will come to I would like to go to my presentation. This is about crab cultivation development strategy in GUST. And we make in Kaliblini village is located to the northern part from Tegal city. From any much from mangrove cultivation and making cold, and I think this is for result from mangrove. The only thing is mangrove little compost, and next year data collection for this research. Just only two parameters: secondary data and primary data. Primary data is just to think much more from questionnaire, and then product and secondary data is just from the studies, and then we have prepare to advance. There is continuing from the short and the continuing from questionnaire. That only one. And next. Well, curfew method. This is one thing for value is important and zero is not important. Just determine factor weakness and strength. There's only strengths and weakness and the opportunity and the trick will can be very good and the one below average to factorization scale from 4 and then for 2 below. 1 point below range. A multiple way is to explain to second. This is my location for this my research. This is area for analysis, and then this is to make society for the Caribbean with anything. All of the 100 questionnaire is considered to meeting society society from the each order respondent in Caribbean. This is from strength, weakness, and opportunity fit with my scale from strategy, just only for strength and for opportunity and fit in this explain the paper. And then conclusion with factor is was 3.332 and then external just 3.42 to include the matrix with cell in segment 1. It is for this strength segment in the analytic phase was growing in condition, just only optimistic in Indonesia for main group, and then we have auditing pressure from society and from MICMED and government studies and the universities. Thank you so much for this question. Gentlemen, thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Pak Ali from Universitas Pancasakti Tegal. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of the parallel session presenter for ICEDES 2023. And I'd like to say thank you for all the distinguished speakers and all the presenters for coming all the way to online or offline here in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Thank you very much, and I hope to see you again on the next ICEDES in 2024. Thank you very much. Goodbye. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Oke, silahkan foto bersama. Di end, Pak.